rehabilitated, and real entertaining. This is the Carl Jackson Podcast.
I'm going to give you 12 ways the left is depopulating the earth, and I'm going to tell you how you can fight back. Let me just give you some of the things that they're doing. Abortion, traditional marriage, climate change, promoting LGBTQ agenda, making porn easily accessible. They're limiting the food supply. They're taking away parental rights. They're socializing medicine, giving it nice names like Obamacare. They're turning ethnic groups against each other with this CRT, DEI stuff. They're introducing AI. They're convincing humans around the globe to take experimental vaccines. And when all else fails, they are implementing ESG scores, so making it harder for us to buy and sell product and get jobs. We're going to be talking about all of that next on this edition of the Carl Jackson Show podcast. All right, welcome to today's edition of the Carl Jackson Show podcast. This is your daily dose of objective truth in a world of confusion and lies. I appreciate you joining me today. Today, I will be on Dennis Prager's show. I hope you will get to join me and listen in today. You're getting a sneak preview of some of what I'm going to talk about today. But I was sitting here, I was actually struggling with ideas for the show, things to talk about. There's just so much in the news. It's like, man, how do you filter through it? And then for some reason, depopulating the earth comes up. This is something that's on my mind all the time, ways in which the left is trying to depopulate the earth. I believe the left are evil people and they're sick people, and they have a fascination with death and control. And so I'm thinking about ways in which they are trying to depopulate the earth, or trying to control us while they do it. And it hit me, if you really want to save America, if you really want to fight back against the left, then we need to know all of the things that they're trying to do to depopulate the earth. These are atheist, godless elites. And now, listen, this isn't your aunt and uncle or your mom and dad that might be a Democrat, although I would say that they're communist by default at this point. If they're voting for Biden and the Democrat agenda as it stands today, I believe that, they're communist by default. But I start thinking about, man, if you really wanted to fight back against the left, you got to fight back against all of the things that they're doing to depopulate the earth, starting with abortion. Abortion is number one. Listen, I don't want to vote for any candidate that doesn't believe in life. I believe in life from the cradle to the grave, and I believe that anyone that views life doesn't view or doesn't hold life in the highest esteem isn't someone that's going to fight for every American from the womb to the tomb. It just doesn't make sense. Excuse me. It doesn't make sense to me. Now, we can have arguments as far as states' rights and all this kind of stuff, and where each state should be when it comes to the abortion issue. Listen, I'm a constitutionalist. I'm a Christian, but I'm a constitutionalist. We live in a federalist system, so I do believe in states' rights. So I understand that some states might say, "Hey, listen, let's do a heartbeat bill like we did here in Florida." Other states, with exceptions for the life of the mother. Rape and incest as well. Some states may say, "Hey, we're going all out, man. We don't want anybody to have an abortion." But that's each state has to choose with the route in which they want to go. But anyone that's weak on the issue of abortion in the conservative movement, Republican Party, I'd say they're not worth voting for, because this is one of the ways in which the left is trying to depopulate the earth. It has nothing to do with women's rights. It's a bunch of elitists that are using useful idiots, getting women all emotional and, oh, my rights, my rights, my rights. And then what they do is they implement all of these monetary schemes and everything else that they can use to start controlling people by getting women all emotional on the issue of abortion. The second way in which the left is trying to depopulate the earth is they want to undermine traditional marriage. One man, one woman, right? obviously we have a low population birth rate. We are in serious trouble here in the United States, and it's not just the United States. Obviously, they're having this issue around the globe. You see places like Japan and China. Obviously, China with their one child policy forever. Even Russia was having serious problems with people having babies. And so Vladimir Putin at one point was encouraging his citizens to literally get their freak on, because the bottom line is, if a country doesn't continue to have babies, eventually it's going to collapse simply because you don't produce new citizens. It's as simple as that. And so the left wants to undermine traditional marriage. And again, it is these radical leftists, these George Soros, these World Economic Forum types, these World Health Organization types that have this sick fascination with death, and they want to be the only ones that are in charge, and I guess apparently the only ones that are alive. And so one of the ways in which they want to depopulate the earth is simply by undermining traditional marriage, because in traditional marriage, what's going to happen? You have a man and a woman that unite in one, that unite as one, and they have children and they populate the earth. So the left wants to seriously undermine traditional marriage. They want to make the idea of having children, that's just so nasty. But you destroy societies like that. Number three, another way in which you depopulate the earth is you buy into or you promulgate this climate change hysteria. Why would you promulgate climate change hysteria? There's more and more evidence. Listen, men and women have been around for God knows how long, forever, right? And to this point, we have not destroyed the earth, because when God created the earth, he considered human beings, right? He knew us before we were born. I mean, he's omnipotent, he's omniscient, which means he's all knowing. He knew what impact we were going to have on the globe, and he made arrangements for that, so to speak, for lack of better terms. But everything works harmoniously in our ecosystem. In our ecosystem, and so therefore we don't have to be concerned about climate change. I mean, the climate changes 4 times a year, and that isn't to say that humans don't have some impact on the planet. Of course we do, to some extent. The problem is we can adapt to it as human beings because God gave us a brain. And again, I believe that God accounted for it. But the left, if they can get you all scared and riled up about climate change, what's going to happen? You have Hollywood stars that are out there saying, I'm not going to have babies because of climate change. Another thing you would do, number 4, to depopulate the earth, you would promote the LGBTQ agenda. Before I go on, guys, let me just say this. This show is not possible without sponsors. So I want to thank my sponsor today, MyPillow.com, Mike Lindell at the fabulous company MyPillow. Mike is a patriot. You can support Mike and his fight to save America and election integrity and all that kind of stuff, as well as help him keep American jobs on American soil, American jobs, American manufacturing. He has this new My Pillow 2.0 out. It has the same patented adjustable feel as the original My Pillow, but now it comes with a temperature regulating thread that makes the entire pillow softer, smoother, and cooler. The pillow still comes with a 10-year warranty, a 60-day money-back guarantee, like all of Mike's products at mypillow.com. So you can rest assured of that. But there's a special offer, all right? Special offer for my listeners. You're going to buy one pillow, or if you buy one pillow, you will get the second pillow absolutely free. So you can give it to your spouse, give it away, as a gift. People love the My Pillow. And again, American jobs, American manufacturing. All you have to do to take advantage of the buy one, get one free special is go to mypillow.com, click on the radio listener square that's at the top of the page, and enter my name, Carl, C-A-R-L. Again, enter my name, Carl, and you will get the buy one, get one free offer. Or you can give them a call, 800-858-0263, 800-858-0263, mypillow.com. Now, going back to the list, 12 ways in which the left is depopulating the earth and how you can fight back. First off, you have to be knowledgeable. You have to be aware. You have to know what the left is doing, right? So that you even know how to fight back. How do you win a battle if you don't know what the attackers are doing, right? And so this is why I created this list. So another thing the left is doing to depopulate the earth is they're promoting LGBTQ agenda. I mean, that's what all of this is about. And again, you create another victim group, another victim group like women that are for abortion. Um, you create this victim group. You get them all riled up. You tell them that their gender dysphoria is absolutely normal. You make it a political movement. And then what do you have? You have radical activists in the LGBTQ community that can't produce children. You have lesbian and gays, obviously lesbian and gays. Some of them may be the nicest people in the world, but they're not going to have babies. They can't produce babies. They can't produce new taxpayers. And then you get you get people that have gender dysphoria that could potentially, with the proper counseling, become somewhat normal again. Dare I say? I know I got bashed for that one, but that's the I don't know. They can become somewhat normal with medication. They can get their gender dysphoria. Let me put it this way, under control. But when you have people that are having addictomies and tracheotomies, they're not going to be able to produce children. They never will. All right. Another thing that you would do is you would make, if you want to depopulate the earth, you make porn as easily accessible to men as possible, because men are overly stimulated by sight, right? We love viewing women. There's no doubt about it. But when you make porn easily accessible, you make it so where men aren't satisfied with one woman and they can't handle real relationships, because there's obviously no work put in or no effort put in when you watch porn. You can get the satisfaction that you need when you watch porn. Another thing that you would do to depopulate the earth is obviously limit the food supply. And this is coupled with climate change. You guys may have heard the story in Ireland where they're looking to kill, literally kill 200,000 cows in Ireland because of the methane. Small farmers are having a fit. It's absolutely insane what they're doing. But just think about how many homeless people could 200,000 cattle feed, or people in general. But these leftists, these globalists, they want to limit the food supply. They want to ration food so that they can eat all high on the hog in their private jets. They're going to be having the greatest steaks you could ever imagine. But the peons like us, we're not going to get the nutrition we need. We're not going to get the protein. We're not going to get the protein we need. So we're not going to be able to fight back against them and the armies that they build up, because we're going to be starving. All right. Another way in which you would depopulate the earth is you would take away parental rights. And this is something that the left is doing right now. You take away parental rights, so that people are disincentivized. Young couples are disincentivized. Another way they want to disincentivize marriage. Young couples will be disincentivized to have marriage. Listen, the Bible tells us to be fruitful and multiply. People with a religious background believe that. And so when you abolish parental rights, when you say your children belong to the state, who's going to want to have a kid? So you take away parental rights. All of this is in an effort to depopulate the earth. Number 8, you will socialize medicine. Single payer healthcare, right? That's what socialized medicine is. Single payer healthcare is simply you have one source paying the bill, which is the federal government, right? Paying for your healthcare, which is actually you, because the only money that the federal government has, any government for that matter, is the money that they take from you, unless they borrow or print money. Those are other ways in which they do that. But the problem with socialized medicine, well, you can see this starting to transpire with healthcare. You take the care out of healthcare. You start rationing care. Why? Because every Tom, Dick, and Harry can afford or can get medical insurance. And so that sounds great, right? We want to be compassionate. Everybody needs health care, so on, et cetera. But the problem with that is when you get 6-7 million illegals that are the illegal aliens that are bombarding your border, and everybody gets to have care, and you have a Democrat Party willing to give them care, and you have a bunch of Americans, small business owners like myself that were once being allowed to buy our own plans, and now we got to go on some government plan. What happens? The system gets overwhelmed. There's too few doctors taking care of too many patients. And so what happens? You ration care by necessity. You ration care. And not only that, you create so much paperwork that doctors that doctors are forced doctors are forced to deal with more paperwork than they are, spend more time on paperwork than they are with patients. So what do? They go to these large health management facilities by people that run these hospitals that aren't necessarily doctors. They're just managers. And as a result of that, you get less care because they have to be the managers have to be um, mindful of the bills, right? So too few doctors, too many people to care for. That's what socialized medicine does, and eventually you ration. So you should have an appointment be post or prior to Obamacare. Or even when it first began until it really started winding up, you would have been able to get some type of care. I don't know. You make an appointment and say I don't know, for whatever reason you make an appointment with your doctor. Perhaps you have to have a surgery, or perhaps you just need to go in and see your doctor. And back in the day, your doctor would have said, okay, we have an appointment today, we have an appointment tomorrow, you can come in tomorrow, tomorrow morning, tomorrow afternoon, or we maybe have an appointment a couple of days out because we're all booked out. Sometimes you can call the doctor and they're like, oh yeah, we're good in a couple of weeks. Well, a couple of weeks, I could be dead, for God's sakes. And God forbid you need some type of emergency procedure. God forbid you need a pacemaker. I have a family member that needs a pacemaker and is in dire need of a pacemaker. And frankly, it's a horrible situation because this person has to wait several months. And now they're like, wait several months. I mean, what do you mean? It's insane. All right. Another thing that you would do if you wanted to depopulate the earth, you would promote CRT and DEI, critical race theory, diversity, equity, and inclusion, because the goal would be to turn ethnic groups against each other. I don't say race, or I'll slip up and say race sometimes, but the only race that exists is the human race. So what you would do is you would turn ethnic groups against each other in pluralistic societies like we have in the United States. You would turn them against each other. You would also defund the police. Why would you defund the police? Why would you turn races against each other? Because your goal would be to have the races war against each other and kill each other off. Oh, in the meanwhile, you're going to defund the police. Why? Because criminals can just kill other people in the street. These are fewer people that you have to worry about. Carl, are you some conspiracy? No, we see this stuff happening. I don't understand how we would deny it at this point. It's absolutely insane to me. Another thing that you would do is you would introduce AI. Now, a lot of conservatives are concerned about AI and, okay, AI is going to take over jobs and all this kind of stuff. It's true, but AI is also going to train people on how to think. AI is going to train people as to what's acceptable, because who's creating this type of stuff? Who's creating this software that's going to run afoul, that's going to run amok? Now, I think that we can control, ultimately. There's some people out there that's saying, well, listen, you can control AI, but we need to back away from it. The AI can't feel emotions. It can't do any of that stuff. There's always going to be a human element missing. But one of the things that I'm concerned about with AI and growing technology is we're entering a world in which convenience is all that matters. Contentment doesn't. So we never stop and smell the roses. We always go towards convenience. And since we go towards convenience, we would want AI because it would make life even easier. I think it would make people dumber. I think ChatGPT is showing that now, where you got college students that are trying to write their papers just using ChatGPT, so they never learn anything, right? But this is one of the ways in which you would depopulate the earth. You can program people into thinking marriage bad, abortion good, all the left-wing propaganda that you want, climate change, all the stuff that I mentioned before. You can brainwash people just using AI as to what you want. If AI tells you that the only truth that exists within AI, and you have a bunch of people that are in like this virtual reality type world, what the heck do you think they're going to do? What do you think they're going to believe? Especially with a growing number of people not attending church anymore. Another thing that you would do, number 11, and I've gone through 10 now. Number 11, what you would do is you would convince the world to take experimental vaccines that have not been tried, experimental vaccines that have not been tested. And as a result of that, you would have all types of complications, perhaps many people would die as a result of a jab that you told people were good for them, and now and now in hindsight, we find out that it was totally bogus, and now the institutions and the people that said go get this jab are trying to be as silent as possible on the issue. Absolutely amazing. While so many people likely died as a result of it. Another thing that you would do, if all else fails, what you would do if nobody buys into this, if you have people like myself that say, man, screw all of this stuff, I see what the left is trying to do, then you would impose ESG scores. What are ESG scores? Environmental, social, and governance scores that banks are using and corporations are using and investment firms are using to curtail your or control your behavior. They're going to make you comply. That is the bottom line. The left wants to be able to control what you sell and what you buy, and they will do that with ESG scores. Carl, we don't like the fact that you think that whites aren't oppressors. We don't like that. We don't like the fact that you think that trans is a mental disorder. We don't like that. And so since we don't like that, and since you believe that, we're going to shape your behavior because you're not going to be allowed to buy and sell. You won't be allowed to buy and sell food. So the only way that Carl could survive is to live in an underground world, hoping that there's enough smart people out there to create this underground world. But things would get extremely difficult. It would make it hard to survive as a human being. Another thing that ESG scores would do is prevent you from getting a job. Well, if companies that are bogged down with this woke nonsense, they look at your social media profile. Oh man, he's a Christian. Oh, she's a Christian. Oh, she believes in this. Oh, he believes in this. I don't want them at my company. Why don't I want them at my company? Because I'm going to be punished by politicians in California, left-wing radicals, and I'm going to be punished with these investment firms. Oh, I believe in fossil fuels. It's smart. Oh, no. You're going to be punished. You're going to be punished. You can't get a job here. But meanwhile, all these small mom and pop shops have been disappearing. Man, this is all about control. Guys, listen, I appreciate you tuning in to this edition of the Carl Jackson Show podcast. If you want to fight back against the left, you have to understand what they're throwing at us. And I believe they are literally, these people are sick, evil, and twisted, and they're trying to depopulate the earth. So if you want to know how to fight back, you have to be informed. You have to know these 12 things the left are doing to depopulate the earth. And I guarantee you, if you look at these things and if you focus on these things, and if a candidate doesn't hit some of these things, it's not the candidate to vote for. It's as simple as that. And I would say all of these things, quite frankly. This is the only way that you're going to save society. Otherwise we just prepare for death, and hopefully you're right with Jesus Christ, because man, the world is coming to an end as we know it. Anyway, I appreciate you tuning in, guys. Please subscribe to the podcast wherever you go to get your podcast. All right, Apple, Google, Spotify. Please subscribe to our YouTube page and our Rumble page. The Carl Jackson Show is where you can find us at both of those outlets. I'm on social media. Would you join us on our Instagram page, please? The Carl Jackson Show. I think Gabe will put up a short today, or Zach one will put up a short today. We're trying to put up more shorts for you that will link you back to our Rumble and YouTube pages. So if you would follow us there, like and share, we would really appreciate that. The same is true we're on Twitter. We're on Getter at Carl Jackson Show, or at The Carl Jackson Show, at The Carl Jackson Show. You'll find me if you go to at The Carl Jackson Show, Instagram, Twitter, Getter, Facebook, Truth Social. Please join us there. We would really appreciate that. By the way, if you go to YouTube and Rumble, give us a score, rate and review us. Give us a 5, please. If you do, that's going to help us move up the charts. That's going to help more people to hear this podcast. So, guys, I appreciate you tuning in to this edition of the Carl Jackson Show podcast. This is your daily dose of objective truth in a world of confusion and lies, if I can get it out. And until next time, don't grow weary doing good, and God bless you.